Welcome to the deep dive. We talk a lot about artists breaking through, but with Blackpink, it really feels like something else entirely. I mean, over
Yeah,
1.5 billion streams. Well, the source I saw called them an unbelievable phenomenon, and honestly, it's hard to argue with that.
Absolutely. It's not just numbers. It's a sign of a real shift in global pop. Their connection with fans worldwide is just remarkable.
Totally. And that huge global presence is kind of the backdrop for what we're looking at today. Their appearance on The Tonight Show starring Jimmy Fallon. This was back June 26, 2020. Remember the whole at-home edition?
Oh yeah, the remote era.
Exactly. But even remote, Blackpink made a huge splash. So today, we're going to dive into that specific US TV moment. We want to kind of unpack their impact, their appeal, and maybe even, pick up some natural English along the way. We'll focus a lot on the how you like that performance.
Sounds good. It's a really interesting case study, isn't it? K-pop meets mainstream American late night. It tells you a lot about how they present themselves globally.
Okay, so let's start with how you like that. Big deal performance. It was the debut of the first single from the album they were about to release. What jumped out at you about how it looked on Fallon?
Well, the first thing, and this got a lot of comments online, was the camera work. People immediately noticed it felt very K-pop music show, like Inkigayo, which is a huge music show in South Korea.
Right. People know Inkigayo for those really dynamic shots, quick cuts, lots of close-ups on the artist.
Exactly. Focuses so much on the performers, capturing the choreography, the expressions. It's quite different from, the sometimes more static wide shots you might see on other U.S. shows that focus more on the whole stage or audience reaction.
Yeah. I saw comments like, did Jimmy Fallon hire a K-pop director? Or joking about Inkigayo at home. People seem to really dig it, calling it dynamic, energetic. Why do you think that style worked so well here?
Well, for one, it probably felt familiar and exciting to existing K-pop fans watching. They expect to see the details, the choreography, each member getting their moment. And for new viewers, it just injects a ton of energy, keeps your eyes moving, builds excitement. It also kind of signaled, hey, Blackpink is bringing their style, production included, to this global stage. They weren't just conforming.
Makes sense. And the visuals didn't stop there. The outfits, huge discussion point. People were saying things like straight fire, god tier, and lots of talk about the modernized hanbok.
Oh, definitely. Those outfits were brilliant.
Yep.
Taking traditional Korean clothing, the hanbok, and giving it this modern high fashion twist. It's a really powerful statement. It honors their heritage, but makes it feel totally current and cool for an international audience.
Yeah, really striking.
And the detail about Lisa's outfit having some Thai elements, too, that just adds another layer, highlighting the group's own diversity. Fans really pick up on and appreciate that stuff.
And Jenny's look, the black and pink hair, the matching pink outfit. Someone compared her to a badass anime character, which I thought was pretty spot on. How important are these kinds of specific visual choices?
Oh, they're huge in K-pop. It's all part of the concept, the storytelling. Each member often has a distinct look or persona for a comeback. That anime comparison for Jenny, it suggests something strong, visually arresting, almost like larger than life. It helps create that memorable image.
Okay, let's shift to the choreography for how you like that. There seem to be slightly different takes on it online.
Yeah, a little bit. You had some people saying it was super catchy, really memorable, perfect for like TikTok challenges.
Right, I saw mentions of the hand movement specifically, like the sassiness of the hands during the look at you now, look at me parts. People notice those details.
Exactly. Those hook points, the memorable gestures, they stick with you. But then you also had some comments from people who maybe expected something, I don't know, more technically complex or intense based on other K-pop choreo they've seen.
So kind of depends on what you're looking for, maybe. Accessible and catchy versus super intricate.
Pretty much. It reflects the diversity of taste even within the fandom.
And what about the lyrics? That one line, look up in the sky, it's a bird, it's a plane, definitely got people talking.
It really did. Some found it a little maybe cheesy, a bit corny.
Yeah, I saw that.
But then others loved it. They saw it as this fun, like, Superman reference, signaling their big comeback, like there's superheroes arriving on the scene.
Yeah.
It's funny how one line can split opinions like that.
Totally. Okay, let's zoom in on the members themselves. We mentioned Jenny's look already, that black and pink hair, the anime vibe. Really strong.
For sure. Jenny has this very commanding presence, and her styling always seems to amplify that. That black and pink combination is just so iconic for Blackpink now, isn't it?
It really is. And Lisa. So many comments about her just owning the stage, people saying she was staring straight into my soul, talking about her pure charisma and confidence.
Lisa's stage presence is undeniable. She just connects with the camera, and you feel it even through the screen. That staring into my soul comment that tells you how magnetic people find her. She really draws you in.
Now, we didn't see as many specific call-outs for Jisoo in the sources we looked at for this performance, but Rosé got mentioned specifically for her fluent English, which actually leads us nicely into the language learning aspect.
Right. Rosé's fluency is obviously a huge plus for them when doing promotion in English-speaking countries. And yeah, it makes watching their interviews and appearances really useful if you're learning English.
And sort of related to their individual presence, there's this overall feeling from commenters that the whole group seemed even more confident, more polished than maybe during their Coachella set or earlier tour dates.
That makes sense. Performing on massive stages like Coachella, doing a world tour, that kind of experience naturally builds confidence and refines your stagecraft. You see that growth.
Okay, so moving beyond the actual performance piece, they also did the Try Not to Laugh challenge with Jimmy Fallon. That must have been a good way to show a different side of them.
Yeah, exactly. Those game segments are great for showing personality, letting viewers see them relax a bit. And remember the context here. Jimmy mentioned they were the first all-female group from South Korea to top that Billboard streaming chart with the Lady Gaga track, Sour Candy.
Oh, right. So this appearance was happening right as their profile in the U.S. was seriously blowing up.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And Jimmy Fallon laid out some crazy stats too, like 5 #1s on the Billboard World Digital Songs chart, most followed girl group on Spotify at the time, most subscribed music group on YouTube, millions on Instagram.
And their reaction was so genuine. They seemed almost stunned, saying things like, they literally don't get how big it is, that it makes us freeze. Just very humble and thankful to their fans, the Blinks.
Yeah, that kind of reaction really resonates with people, seeing that humility despite the huge numbers.
And the game itself sounded pretty funny. Apparently, Jenny started laughing before the first video even played, just looking at the screen.
Huh. Yeah, those unscripted, genuine moments are gold. It makes them feel relatable, not just untouchable superstars.
Definitely. Which kind of loops back to the English learning point. Even if we don't have the full interview transcript word for word, you can get so much useful, natural English just from watching clips like this, especially with Rosé leading the conversation often.
Absolutely. Watching fluent speakers interact naturally is, invaluable. You hear the pronunciation, the rhythm, the little phrases people actually use.
Yeah, like expressing excitement. You might hear Rosé say something simple like, "This is very exciting," or when Fallon was giving those stats, he'd use words like unbelievable phenomenon or call something major. Those are great descriptive words.
Right. And their reaction, saying they literally don't understand the scale, that's such a common, natural way English speakers express surprise or being overwhelmed.
Right.
And basic politeness, like, thank you so much for having us.
Yeah.
Essential stuff.
Or in the game segment, you'd probably hear things like Jimmy asking, "Want to play a game with you?" Then explaining, "The game is very simple." Maybe some encouragement like, "Here we go."
And reactions to the funny clips, "I love that," or "That's adorable." And acknowledging a winner. "She won that round," or just "Congrats." It's all that everyday conversational language.
Exactly. So for you listening, paying attention to how they say these things, the intonation, the pauses, is just as important as the words themselves. It helps you get the real flow of spoken English.
It puts the language in context, which makes it stick better and feel more, real and usable than just learning from a textbook.
So wrapping things up, Blackpink on The Tonight Show back in 2020. It was a really significant moment, wasn't it? More than just a song premiere.
Definitely. It showcased their incredible performance ability, yes, but also their individual charms. Jenny's style, Lisa's dance power, Rosé being so comfortable in English, and just their genuine interaction as a group.
It really cemented their arrival on that big U.S. stage, showing they could connect with a huge audience, not just through music, but personality, too.
And it showed how K-pop production values, like that specific camera style, could translate and even be appreciated on a mainstream Western platform.
And like we said, for you, the listener, it's just a fantastic example of how pop culture can be a really fun, engaging way to pick up real, natural English.
For sure. Cultural exchange happening right there, with language learning as a cool side benefit.
So here's a final thought to leave you with. Think about how seeing global artists like Blackpink on these huge platforms changes things. Does it influence music trends? Sure. But what about how cultures interact? Does it maybe even change how TV itself is made, like we saw with the camera work discussion? Can you think of other times when seeing something from a different culture in mainstream media surprised you or made you think differently? Something to chew on.
Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.